The theme to The Last of Us really came about, there was a little bit of story, a little bit of gameplay, but what really happened was kind of twofold. Neil Druckmann, the creative director, and myself, we went and saw No Country for Old Men, and we walked out of the theater kind of like eyes wide open and mouth agape, like, what did we just see? What was that? And when we can look at each other and say, like, what if you could make a game like that? What if you could make a game that had that kind of tension? Yet those types of characters. And if you could marry those elements together, but with the controller in your hand, then it seems like there's something that I haven't played much of. And then when we saw the Planet Earth video, and David Attenborough so succinctly describes this cordyceps fungus, which is the most fascinating sci-fi weird thing that actually happens that you've ever seen, because when you actually watch this time-lapse photo of this ant that has this fungus growing out of it, and then it pops, and the spores spread out, and then it's going to contaminate the rest of the colony. It's such a wild thing to think that this exists. And that was a jumping off moment to say, like, well, what if? We started thinking, like, we could make something really special here.
We wanted the players to have to make some choices. We wanted to think about, in a world with limited supplies, and you ran into these things, what would you have to do? What would you really have to do in this situation?
What's going to happen? Am I going to meet a human, a band of humans? Are they going to be good? Are they going to be bad? Infected? What type of infected? How many? Do I have 2 bullets or 5? So in my limited tool set, you start seeing the parallels between story and game, and you start marrying, like, how do we get those character moments to show up in the gameplay, and how do we get the gameplay to propel character moments? That's the challenge. And it's caused a world of hurt and pain and struggle and anguish, and yet if you just push it, and both ends try to meet in the middle and trying to find that beautiful symbiotic relationship between gameplay and story, you find something new and inventive and gets the player truly invested in the overall experience.
Making the systems for this game have proven to be hard, and that's exciting. That means that we're kind of exploring some new territory, and it means that we are trying something a little different, and we're trying something that we're kind of really interested in playing. And there's a lot of new systems in this game. You know, we've got the crafting, we've got new combat, we've got listen mode, we've got all these different things that are all going to combine to create this grounded universe, this one that is very lethal, very dangerous.
We built a prototype early on in development, and we had a very small team, so to try to capture the flavor of what we wanted the core combat to be, that idea of that tension and sort of scavenging and improvisational, dynamic AI, we set up the previs, and it basically turned out to be the ambush sequence when you head into Pittsburgh.
We've created something where you are nervous, and that just like a little bit of sound around you is important and can get you startled.
So when we saw the combat in the previs and we started seeing an environment you could walk around with and started changing up some of the mechanics and adding like a crouch button, because we knew stealth was going to be an aspect, sneaking up and being quiet was going to start like filtering in, and then you could look at the previs and keep going back to it and saying, like, okay, how do you do that?
This is a dangerous place to move through. They're setting off to do something scary. So you're going to get those deep, deep tones of uncertainty, of is this a good thing to even do? And you know, in true Naughty Dog fashion, we're going to explore a lot of ranges of the emotion of dealing with this post-pandemic world.